Many people enjoy collecting things as a hobby, from trading cards to musical instruments and memorabilia. There is something satisfying about watching your collection grow. But in every category, there is a veritable holy grail, an item so rare that only the world's elite could hope to possess it. From gemstones to comic books, we're looking at the rarest items in the world. Hannes Wagner. Though he may not be as famous as Babe Ruth or Lou Gehrig, Hannes Wagner's baseball card is by far the rarest in existence. The 1909-11 Hannes Wagner set a new world record price for a baseball card, selling for $3.12 million. This breaks the old record of $2.8 million, which was paid for a different copy of the same card in 2007. The cards were produced by the American Tobacco Company. About 60 Wagner cards exist. The tobacco company abruptly stopped production because either the great pirate shortstop opposed smoking or he wasn't compensated for use of his image, or perhaps both. For whatever reason, the limited run made the card extremely valuable. In addition, the card was produced with larger than average margins, leading to the nickname Jumbo Wagner. Regardless of the production flaws, this is easily the rarest sports card in the world. Gutenberg Bible. Many people see the advent of the Gutenberg printing press as the single most important moment in modern history. Before the printing press, books had to be written out by hand, meaning that it was time-intensive. Thus, books were scarce and literacy was a luxury reserved for the rich and powerful. But the Gutenberg press changed all that. The first book printed on the press was, unsurprisingly, the Bible. The first was commissioned in 1456 and several hundred more followed. But books are not designed to be durable and very few remain. At the moment, 28 partial copies are purported to exist and 21 full copies. These are held in the Library of Congress and other well-respected institutions all across the Western world. A single page in good condition can go for $25,000, and a complete first edition could easily fetch $35 million. Not bad for a dusty old book. Rarest coin. At first glance, it might look like a piece of leftover loose change, but it's actually worth millions, making it possibly the most valuable ounce of gold in the world. The rare 1933 $20 double eagle is the most expensive gold coin ever to be sold at auction and a legend among collectors. The coins, featuring an eagle on one side and liberty on the other, were melted down before they ever left the United States Mint, sacrificed as part of a strategy to remove America from the gold standard and stabilize the American economy. Only one coin is legally in private hands, with all other 1933 double eagles remaining as property of the U.S. government, and the U.S. Secret Service pursues any newly discovered coins. Only one coin has been sold in recent years, and the $20 coin went for an unbelievable $7.9 million. Shakespeare signatures. William Shakespeare was so prolific that many people posited that he was actually a group of people publishing under a pseudonym. He was an English poet, playwright, and actor of the Renaissance era. He was an important member of the King's Men Company of theatrical players from roughly 1594 onward. Known throughout the world, Shakespeare's writings capture the range of human emotion and conflict and have been celebrated for more than 400 years. And yet, the personal life of William Shakespeare is still shrouded in mystery. Of course, his stories are required reading in many schools around the world. While the works themselves are not rare, it's extremely rare to find his signature. In fact, there are only 6 verified copies in existence, and they are each valued at $3 million or more. None of the signatures are connected to works of art. Instead, they are on legal documents that he signed during his lifetime. The scarcity of signatures only adds to Shakespeare's mysterious identity. Painite. Painite is the world's rarest known gemstone. It was originally discovered in 1950 in Myanmar by British mineralogist and gem dealer Arthur C.D. Payne. Painite's extreme rarity is due to it containing the chemical elements zirconium and boron, which do not normally associate with each other in nature and don't occur together in any other mineral. Ironically, some painite crystals are partly altered to a crust of small pink crystals of the more common ruby. Though it's very close in composition to sapphire, these stones are totally unique. Their extreme scarcity means that painite costs as much as $60,000 for a single carat. They are only native to a small region in Myanmar, making them even more difficult to obtain. While other precious stones like diamonds and emeralds are better known, true gem aficionados know that painite is the rarest stone on Earth. Spider-Man comic. Even a casual comic book fan knows that Spider-Man is the most beloved superhero and that his early material is extremely rare. Writer Stan Lee and illustrator Steve Ditko created Spider-Man as a filler story for a canceled anthology series. At the time, a teenage lead hero was unheard of in comic books. However, young readers responded powerfully to Peter Parker, prompting an ongoing title and ultimately a meteor empire, including video games, several animated and one live-action television series, a live-action film franchise, and a Broadway musical. The first appearance in Amazing Fantasy number 15 is by far the most highly valued comic in the world. A copy of Amazing Fantasy number 15 sold at Heritage Auctions in Dallas on February 18, 2016, for $454,100, a record price at public auction for the comic. That record was shattered when a mint-condition copy was sold for $1.1 million less than a year later. Because the publication was initially sold for only 12 cents, it pays to hold on to your old comic books. Tree-skilling yellow stamp. The Tree-skilling Yellow is a Swedish postage stamp which holds the world's record auction sales price for a single postage stamp. In the 1800s, Swedish currency was known as a skilling. The normal 3-skilling stamp printed in Sweden should be green, whereas the 8-skilling stamp was printed in yellow. However, due to an unknown error in 1855, most likely because the 3-skilling plate was accidentally replaced by an 8-skilling one, the 3-skilling stamp was printed in yellow, creating the precious Tree-skilling Yellow stamp. The only known copy in existence of the Tree-skilling Yellow was discovered by a schoolboy named George Wilhelm Beekman in 1886 while going through his grandparents' attic. The stamp made headlines in 1984 when it was sold for $1.07 million. At a 1990 sale, it made over $1 million, and then in 1996, it was sold again for $2.875 million. Each successive sale meant a world record worth for a postage stamp. This also makes the stamp the most expensive item by weight in the world. Levi jeans. Levi's are synonymous with blue jeans. The story began in 1850 when a Bavarian immigrant arrived in San Francisco to try his luck in the gold rush. Hearing of the miners' need for durable pants, Strauss hired a tailor to make garments out of tan canvas. Later, denim was substituted and copper riveting was added to pocket seams. Little did he know that he would become richer than any of the gold miners. Levi's became extremely popular for their durability and eventually their style. A pair of these original Levi's 501 jeans from more than 115 years ago went on sale in 2005 and were purchased by a Japanese collector for $60,000. While there are technically more expensive pants, these are one of a kind and cannot be recreated, making them the rarest pair of pants in the world. Double Fantasy album. One of the most legendary and brutal murders in music occurred on December 8, 1980. Mark David Chapman was a psychotic man living in New York City. He had a number of obsessions, including Catcher in the Rye, Todd Rundgren, and most famously, the Beatles. On that fateful day, he accosted James Taylor in the subway and then went looking for famed Beatles songwriter John Lennon. Before the grisly murder took place, Chapman asked Lennon to sign a copy of his latest album, Double Fantasy. Lennon acquiesced, only moments before Chapman shot him point-blank in the back and the lung. The album fell into the rose garden nearby. It was later used as evidence in the case because it had Chapman's fingerprints. Though it's an extremely morbid piece of memorabilia, the album was later sold for $460,000. Chapman remains in jail to this day for the horrendous murder. Soraya horse. The Soraya is a breed of ancient horses that developed in Portugal's Iberian Peninsula. Their primitive markings, convex profile, and grulla coloring are all indicative of their ancientness. The Soraya is an extremely rare breed and is one of the very few types of original wild horses that are still living. However, very recently they have been categorized as a breed by the Portuguese National Stud in order to ensure safe breeding by human intervention and thus help their population grow. Today, they are mainly found in Portugal and Germany. It's thought the Soraya animals were among the first to be taken to the Americas by the Spanish as they were adaptable, hardy, and useful as pack animals. Once upon a time, these horses were plentiful all across the European continent, but loss of habitat and proliferation of new breeds has forced this beautiful creature almost into extinction. Blue Empress. It's uncommon for a piece of jewelry to set off a media storm, but that's exactly what happened in 2003 when Harrods department store in London unveiled the Blue Empress. The diamond necklace valued at around $16 million, and the shop hoped it would be sold as a Christmas present. The necklace quickly attracted a bid of $20 million. It's built around the Blue Empress, a rare blue pear-shaped diamond weighing 14 carats. The necklace in which it's set is made from 18-carat white gold and a number of smaller round white diamonds. It's among a unique collection of 11 blue diamonds mounted in settings from Los Angeles-based designer Christian C. The stone is especially valuable because colored diamonds are extremely rare, and this specimen is considered by many to be the most perfectly crafted in the world. The necklace was eventually sold to an anonymous buyer for an undisclosed amount. Bottle of wine. Even an amateur sommelier knows that wine is valued both for its taste and its history. One bottle of wine from 1787 has both in spades. The bottle was a Bordeaux, a 1787 Chateau Lafite produced by the Rothschild family's vineyards in the south of France. Publisher Malcolm Forbes in 1985 paid $160,000 for a bottle of 1787 vintage, which was believed to be from the late President Thomas Jefferson's cellar and has the initials THJ etched in the glass. Thomas Jefferson was the third president of the United States and one of the most revered of its founding fathers. A philosopher, scientist, and statesman, the aristocratic Jefferson was also an avid enophile. When he was ambassador to France, he spent much of his time visiting the vineyards of Bordeaux and Burgundy, buying wine for his own collection and on behalf of his friends back home. Ming Dynasty Vase. An old vase may seem like it's primed for the donation, but check it with an antique expert first to see if it can pay for your retirement. In one case, an ancient Chinese vase was left haphazardly on a wooden shelf and was totally uninsured. But when the couple who owned it were going through their belongings, they realized they had hit the jackpot. Dating from the 15th century, the Ming Dynasty imperial vase went for $22.6 million. This was almost twice its first estimated value. Surprisingly, it was bought via a telephone bid by an anonymous buyer. Very few of these vases exist in good condition, and the couple said they couldn't remember where they had acquired the decorative piece of kitchenware. Thanks to this happy accident, the couple have retired comfortably. Caviar of the East. Yan Wo, or bird's nest, is sometimes referred to as the caviar of the East. There are two reasons for this. They're high cost and because this food is treasured as a delicacy. A few species of swiftlets build edible nests that are consumed by humans worldwide, and because the nests are extremely difficult to harvest, the food is extremely expensive. The Chinese believe eating these birds' nests influences lung, stomach, and kidney meridians and improves appetite and complexion. They commonly use them to aid recuperation from debilitating illnesses because of their easily digestible glycoprotein and other nutrients. Farmed nests can cost $30 a bowl in China, but wild-caught nests generally go for $10,000 a gram.